Coming up in CVM News at 7, EOJ says all systems go ahead of tomorrow's election. EOJ cautions employers to allow time for voting. Lead singer of Morgan Heritage, Peter Anthony Morgan, has died. And in sports, under-20 Reggae Boys open CONCACAF champs with the win. From Kingston, Jamaica, this is CVM News at 7. Good evening. I'm TK Dawkins. Jamaica and the global sporting community today mourn the loss of prolific track analyst Hubert Lawrence. Lawrence, renowned for his insightful commentary and deep understanding of athletics, leaves behind a profound legacy in sports journalism after 63 years of life. Born in 1960, Lawrence's passion for track and field was evident from a young age. He was a past student of the St. Catherine-based St. Jago High. It was there that he says he first discovered his talent for sports analysis. Throughout his career, Lawrence became known for his attention to detail and comprehensive knowledge of the sport. As a commentator, Lawrence brought clarity and depth to his analysis, enriching the experience for viewers and listeners alike. His contributions extended to various prestigious events, including the Olympics, World Championships, and the Carifta Games. Beyond his work in broadcast, Lawrence was a prolific author, penning several influential books on athletics, including Power and the Glory and Champs 100. News of Lawrence's passing sent ripples throughout several industries and the region. May his soul rest in peace. We now go to a break. CVM News at 7 returns in a moment. Welcome back. The Electoral Office of Jamaica, the EOJ, is all set for the local government election Monday, February 26. Voting will take place in 2,726 polling stations in 2,148 locations across the island. The polls open at 7 a.m. and will close at 5 p.m., after which the preliminary counting of ballots will take place inside the polling stations. Glassbold Brown, Director of Elections, says they have been working diligently to ensure that all is in place. The constituencies have met, supplies have been distributed, and workers will receive their final briefing on Sunday. The EOJ is appealing to electors for patience at the polling stations and reminded that they have until 5 p.m. to vote. The Director of Elections adds that many electors seem to turn out during the first 2 or 3 hours of polling, which is when the lines are usually longest. The EOJ is reminding voters that voting lasts for 10 hours and encourages electors to utilize the time during the day up to 5 p.m. to vote. There are 499 candidates in total, with 496 contesting the 228 electoral divisions and 3 vying for mayor of Portmore. This comprises 229 candidates representing the Jamaica Labour Party, 229 representing the People's National Party, 4 representing the United Independents Congress, and 37 independent candidates. The Jamaica Constabulary Force, the JCF, reminds the public of the following important regulations in place for the upcoming elections. No meetings, marches or motorcades are permitted within 24 hours before the opening of polling stations. Assembly, possession of weapons and any activity influencing voters within 100 meters of polling stations is strictly prohibited. And all establishments licensed to sell alcoholic beverages, including bars, nightclubs and liquor stores, must be closed 1 hour before the opening of polling stations and remain closed for 6 hours after the closing of polling stations. The Electoral Office of Jamaica has reported that approximately 42% of the more than 40,000 Special Services electorates cast their ballots Thursday. That's a marginal 1 percentage point increase over Special Services votes cast in the local elections in 2016. More in this report.
The Electoral Office of Jamaica, EOJ, on Friday completed the sorting of ballots for Special Services voting for the local government election. From their data, the EOJ says 42% of the total police, military and election day workers voting population cast the ballots island-wide on Thursday. This compares to a Special Services voter turnout of 41% in the last local government election in 2016. A breakdown of the 40,514 Special Services personnel shows how the 17,069 voted. Of note, only 22% of police and military turned up to vote on the day, accounting for just over 3,400 security personnel from over 15,000 eligible to vote. Election day workers, however, brought the numbers higher, with more than 13,630 of the overall 25,088 casting their ballots. That's just over 54% in turnout, rounding out the overall 17,000 plus ballots that were cast on Thursday. The EOJ says members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force who were impacted by a delay in the delivery of their ballots at polling station number 5 at the National Police College of Jamaica on February 22 will have the opportunity to vote on February 26 between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. at the same location. Special Services voters' ballots are placed in specially marked individual envelopes, which are sorted and counted on election day, along with the ballots cast by civilian non-election day workers. The EOJ says while the Electoral Office has determined how many ballots have been received, there is no indication of how the electors have voted, as the envelopes remain sealed and vaulted until election day. But as all parties and candidates wind up campaigning and head to the polls with their supporters, only time will tell who the polls will favor. Nika Lewis, CVM News.
Opposition leader Mark Golding recently challenged employees to do the right thing and allow workers, especially those in call centers, the chance to vote come Monday. He was addressing supporters in Westmoreland during a tour of the parish. Nika Lewis reports.
Fears and talks among some workers in the BPO sector that their employers, some of whom are from foreign nations, may not honor the promise to allow locals a chance to vote Monday have driven opposition leader Mark Golding to issue a stern warning. He echoed that message in the streets of Westmoreland, surrounded by many from the working class.
Well, I just have a message to those employers in the BPO sector, and indeed any other sector. The law gives each employee in Jamaica 3 hours off work on election day to go and vote, plus another hour for lunch, 3 + 1. And if you try to deny your employees of those basic rights, you'll be violating the law.
But his warning didn't end there, venturing further to remind legal remedies can be sought if the workers' right to vote is infringed upon by the employers.
And if the matter goes to court, I expect the court to award exemplary damages against you for having constitutionally infringed the franchise of your workers. So don't play those games. BPO workers, come out and vote on Monday and put your X beside the head for the People's National Party.
Meantime, with mere hours left before the Jamaican electorates decide who will control the country's local government machinery, he took another swipe at the Prime Minister, who he says has been calling him names on the campaign trail.
The Prime Minister has been going around calling me all kind of names. Now, the people of Jamaica expect more intelligent discourse from their leaders than that. I know you're under the pressure, Andrew, I know the pressure reach and pressure bust pipe. But come man, elevate yourself man, and try your best, and stop the name calling. God bless you all, comrades. One love.
The polls open at 7 a.m. Monday and close at 5 p.m., after which the country will know how the parties and candidates fared. Nika Lewis, CVM News.
The Electoral Office of Jamaica, the EOJ, has been informed that several employers have indicated to their staff that they will not be allowed time off on Election Day or will only be allowed 2 hours off. The EOJ is cautioning employers within the public and private sectors that employees have the right to time off to vote. Employees who intend to vote in the upcoming local government election are entitled to 3 hours time off from work on Election Day, February 26. The 3 hours time off to vote is in addition to the usual lunch hour. The law, however, does not apply to persons who commence work at 10 a.m. or later or end work at or before 2 p.m. Paragraph 4 of the Representation of the People Regulations 1944 states, subject to the provisions of paragraph 2, every employer shall permit each of his employees to be absent from his work on polling day for 3 hours in addition to the normal meal hour. The provisions of paragraph 1 shall not apply to any employee whose work on polling day commences at or after 10 a.m. or concludes before or at 2 p.m. Director of Elections Glaspole Brown is appealing to employers to permit their staff to exercise their constitutional right to vote. CVM News at 7 will return in a moment. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. Lead singer of Morgan Heritage, Peter Anthony Morgan, has died. The Morgan family made the announcement in a social media post today. Andrew Lately has the details.
Yeah, perfectly a fellow son.
Husband, father, son, brother, and lead singer. These are a few of the words the Morgan family used as they deliver the chilling news to fans that Peter Anthony Morgan, affectionately called Peter, has died. He died earlier today, but the family did not disclose how the singer passed. In the post, the family wrote, "Jah come and save us from ourselves, because love is the only way. Our family thanks you in advance for your overwhelming love and support, and we ask for your continued prayers as we go through this process. We ask that you please respect our privacy during this time of healing." Fans have been sharing condolences on social media as they express regret of the lead singer's passing. Morgan was the leader of the Grammy Award-winning band comprising 5 offspring of reggae artist Denroy Morgan. The additional members include Una Morgan, Roy Gramps Morgan, Nakamia Lukes Morgan, And Memola tell Mr. Mojo Morgan.
Jason and Peter Morgan. Oh, yes. Sending this one to the nation. Right away.
Andrew Laidley, CVM News.
The Independent Commission of Investigations, INDICOM, is investigating a shooting incident which occurred on Friday, February 23, at the intersection of Halfway Tree Road and Hope Road, causing severe disruptions to traffic flow across the corporate area. The shooting incident was initially believed to be a discharge of firearm incident, but subsequently reported as a shooting injury following the attendance of a man who was seen at the hospital with a gunshot injury. It's reported that officers were conducting traffic enforcement duties when a taxi driver was signaled to stop. It's alleged that the driver disobeyed the instructions of a police officer, and thereafter actions between both parties resulted in the officer discharging his weapon and the officer sustaining an injury for which he sought medical treatment. The incident scene was examined by INDICOM's forensic personnel, and the evidential material recovered was processed and packaged. The vehicle driven by the taxi driver was also recovered and processed at another location as the driver left the scene of the incident. During processing, damage was observed to the windscreen of the vehicle. The concerned officer did not provide an initial account to the INDICOM team as he was being treated for his injury. INDICOM is appealing to any passenger who may have been in the vehicle or in close proximity to the incident to contact the office of the Commission at 876-968-1932. Information can also be shared via INDICOM's new WhatsApp number, 876-553-0000. The Caribbean Development Bank, the CDB, has approved over $461 million in financing for projects in water, renewable energy, education, and health. Speaking at the recent CDB annual news conference, Director of Projects Therese Turner-Jones disclosed that poverty reduction is high on the agenda for 2024.
Close to 100 projects are under implementation, representing an investment of $30 million. These projects, which focus on the region's poorest communities, demonstrate our commitment to poverty reduction and creating economic opportunities.
While highlighting some of the projects which have already been implemented, Mrs. Turner-Jones said borrowing member countries can expect more support for poverty eradication in 2024.
We opened the Caribbean's first state-of-the-art therapeutic center at the Maxfield Park Children's Home in Jamaica. Now, this center goes beyond providing medical treatment. It offers an holistic approach for victims of child abuse with counseling and intervention guidance all under one roof.
71 passengers arrived in the island yesterday on an inaugural American Eagle flight at the upgraded Ian Fleming International Airport in Boscoville, St. Mary. Transport Minister Darrell Vaz says the airport's operation is expected to revive economic activity in the parish.
After several months of upgrading works, the Ian Fleming International Airport is finally open for business. Transport Minister Darrell Vaz is hoping the airport will bring more economic activity to the parish.
Every single resident of St. Mary, St. Anne, and Portland will benefit greatly from this investment in this facility.
But there's still more work to be done. Mr. Vaz admitted that he's asked the authorities to continue working on the operational model of the airport.
We need to relook at the operational side of things. We need to simplify it, not disregarding safety and security, but to make access leaving and coming into this place a memorable occasion.
In the meantime, the government plans to replicate the Ian Fleming model in other resort areas across the island.
And I say today, Negril, here we come. Negril. If Negril can get one of these, one existing location or a site, depending on what the environmental impact assessment, you would see a game changer in Negril, where all all of the undeveloped land and all of the persons that have properties there that have not invested in them, you will see that turnaround in a matter of years. And that's where the vision is, and that's what the government is all about.
Ian Fleming International Airport becomes Jamaica's newest international port of entry, bringing the island's total to 3. Andrew Laidley, CVM News.
Go now to regional and international news.
We begin with news in the region. Elizabeth Solomon, CARICOM Assistant Secretary General, Foreign and Community Relations, encourages CARICOM nationals to pay attention to the outcomes of the upcoming 46th regular meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government.
And of course, these things impact profoundly on all Caribbean nationals, agriculture, movement of people, even the foreign policy focus impacts profoundly on nationals of the Caribbean. And I really would encourage Caribbean nationals to pay a lot of attention to what happens in these conferences and the work of CARICOM, and what the heads are going into these meetings to discuss, and the decisions that they take and how it impacts on them once they come out of the meetings and go back to their respective countries.
Concerns over possible abuse of new citizenship and immigration laws has prompted government to revisit the draft legislation. Acting Attorney General Wilfred Abrams says birth tourism is a key concern. The term refers to the practice of traveling to another country for the purpose of giving birth in that country and obtaining citizenship for the child. More from CBC News, Barbados.
People will lie as to how pregnant they are, get here, and once again, as soon as you question them, they run into difficulties. They call a doctor. The doctor says they can't travel. And this has happened. We have gone back to deal with that issue as one of you. You're the first person that actually told us, truthfully. Santé probably doesn't even know this. Okay. Right? But we've gone back to the drawing board to deal with that. And there's some other concerns that were raised that we've gone back to dealing with. I can tell you that it is in its tweaking stages right now. Right? And I fully expect, I told the Prime Minister, asked me, and I told her, Prime Minister, I really want, if all else fails, to bring this in before the end of this year.
And in international news, ECOWAS, the Economic Community of West African States, has lifted sanctions against Niger after a military coup threatened to fragment the country. However, the regional bloc has set preconditions for dialogue and engagement with other states. More from Al Jazeera.
At last, it was ECOWAS that blinked first. Its leaders say the decision to lift sanctions imposed on Niger after last year's coup was to save the 49-year-old institution from fragmenting. It was clear even before the summit that the regional bloc was ready to make concessions, and it did with immediate effect.
Closure of land and air borders between ECOWAS countries and Niger to be lifted. No-fly zone of all commercial flights to and from Niger is to be lifted. Suspension of all commercial and financial transactions between ECOWAS member states and Niger is to be lifted. Freezing of all service transactions, including utility services, is to be lifted. Freezing of assets of the Republic of Niger in ECOWAS central banks is to be lifted.
And that's it for regional and international news.
We return with Inspire Jamaica after this break. An American mother Welcome back. An American mother pens her way into the hearts of thousands, including a Jamaican family, as she keeps alive the memories of her perfect son. It's time for Inspire Jamaica with Carlin Brown.
Reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place if you can.
Karine Crawford has a treasure in hand and on her hand. She's the mother of Tejon Allison, who was quite surprised yet happy to see her inside his classroom with a publication gifted to him by the mother of a little boy he will never meet.
So this book, A Part Like Me, written by the wonderful Letitia Smith, who had a son born with A Part syndrome. So the story behind this is that she lost her son at about close to 2 years old. So this was just for introducing us to Liam and what Liam would have experienced if he was still alive with us. All these kids at the back, they are kids with A-Part syndrome, or we like to say a part of the A-Part family. And along with this shirt that I'm wearing, which she also made, this is the FGFR2 gene. That's the A-Part gene, and that is what made us family. Yes, Tejon?
What did you not make one for me?
You have your shirt, I just didn't bring it because you're at school.
Though from a place of grief, the bond between this American and Jamaican families, which trended from a social media post, has flourished into something beautiful.
I can't even imagine losing Tejon at all. So I know she must have been going through a lot. And for her to reach out to me and to tell me that she was really going through a dark time, you know, you can just imagine what she was thinking. So for her to meet us and to bring her back some form of comfort or some form of light, you know, I'm just really happy. The more you speak of A-Part, is the more you get a sense of belonging. You know, you don't just say my child or, you know, you mention the word A-Part. So it also bring awareness to it. And there's a thing that she always say her child is A-Perfect. When he was born, I never thought of giving up. I always say I'm going to push, get the best of what I can with him. So I know once you work with any child, they can progress despite their limitation or disability.
Tejon has come a mighty far way since Inspire Jamaica featured him at 3 years old. Now he's a standout in not one, but 2 books.
This is my friend Tejon. He lives in Kingston, Jamaica with his family.
So these were all fused, but now we got them separated. This is what they call the syndactyly release, where they separate the fingers that were joined together.
And he went overseas for that?
Yes, he went to the Boston Children's Hospital. We can do our high fives, not that they stop us. Ooh, let me see, give me. Yay! So you got all 5s.
And it is with care that Liam's mother deliberately answers questions in his book before they are even asked. Until it's time to entertain his new family in South Carolina during his yearly Christmas vacations, the now 9-year-old Tejon practices his dance moves in between schoolwork at the Praise Tabernacle Christian Academy.
Hello.
He's super friendly. I think that's another thing about A-Part kids. They are super friendly. You know, they're cheeky. They can be cheeky because they speak their mind, but they are friendly. And they display what you show them. So you show them this amount of love, they give it back.
Talk about giving back. Tejon was happy to share some of his TV attention at school. And to his brother at home, whom he adores, a payback.
My mom is beautiful and pretty good at cooking.
She's good at cooking, yeah?
Yeah. And my brother is lazy.
your brother is lazy. Never mind. But you are a good kid, are you? Yeah. You heard it. He speaks his truth. That's Tajon for you. I'm Curlin Brown. Let's continue to inspire Jamaica.
Somebody's hand. Make this. Angelique joins us with sports after this break.
Welcome to CVM Sports. I'm Angelique Virtue. We start things off with football this evening. Jamaica's under-20 Reggae Boys hunt a second win when they face Grenada in the CONCACAF Under-20 Championship on Monday. The match is set to kick off at 6 p.m. Jamaica time. The young Reggae Boys clipped Martinique 1-0 in their first match in Group F at the St. Kitts and Nevis Technical Center on Saturday. Here's the action from Saturday's game.
Qualifying teams that the vast majority of this roster seen either very high level experience overseas in academies or are playing significant professional minutes already. Oh, that's another yellow. That is a second yellow. And Michael Forbes is sent off. Mata dangerously snatched by Lynch. Ball in behind Jean-Baptiste. Oh, it's in! Jamaica take the lead! That Blake could possibly score from here. Reed asked a lot of Lynch. That's a second yellow card. And full time arrives. It wasn't always pretty, but Jamaica got exactly what they came for.
Jamaica's senior Reggae girls will be hoping to level their two-match series against Chile when they square off on Tuesday in the second and final game in Chile. The girls were beaten 5-1 in the first game on Friday, with Chinyelu Asher scoring the lone goal. In Sunday's lone game in the English Premier League, Wolverhampton Wanderers clipped bottom-of-the-table Sheffield United 1-0 at the Molineux Stadium. Wolves moved to 38 points in 8th, while the Blades remain last on 13 points. Here's what happened in today's game.
The CVM C Sport Premier League Roundup is brought to you by Red Stripe, as So We Do It, and MIB Insure.
They've got what they wanted. First half pretty good. Second half lost our way. Really similar to the away game at Sheffield United. Actually lost our way. Didn't like us at all second half. So yeah, lots for me to make sure that we get better at today off the back of that. So fans were excellent. You can see even when it was tough for us against a team that was struggling in the league, and you see the fans were disappointed with that. But they stuck with the players.
It's a new team that's been assembled this year that finds itself in a difficult situation. But they gave me and the football club everything today. But what they need to do if they want to stay Premier League players, in terms of us staying up, if they want to remain Premier League League players in terms of being attracted by other Premier League clubs to stay in the division, especially, you know, with the amount of ball that we had second half. We just need to find that better moment.
The CVM Sport Premier League Roundup is brought to you by Red Stripe, as So We Do It, and MIB Insure.
Liverpool achieved the first part of a potential 4-trophy haul when they beat Chelsea 1-0 to secure the Carabao Cup at Wembley on Sunday. The match went into extra time after a 0-0 draw at full time, and Liverpool, playing without several of their key players, got the winner in the 118th minute of extra time, courtesy of Virgil van Dijk. It's Liverpool's 10th hold on the cup, while Chelsea suffered a 6th straight final defeat at Wembley.
Here's Jayden Danns. He's managed to squeeze it forward to Kostas Tsimikas. Chalobah is with him. Tsimikas with the cross. It bounces away to James McConnell. Back to Kostas Tsimikas. Nicely done. Clark looking for space to take a flick on its way. It did. It's a corner. Corner kick to Liverpool. Tsimikas. Glancing header is in! Virgil van Dijk just might have won the Carabao Cup for Liverpool.
He must be so proud of this Liverpool team. But the run from Van Dijk is great. The ball in is perfect. Chelsea don't really compete as well as what they should do.
The Carabao Cup is handed to Virgil van Dijk and Jurgen Klopp, and Liverpool are the cup winners again.
Over to cricket now. Last season's beaten finalists, Kingston Cricket Club, were beaten by Michael College and University in one of the opening games of the 2024 JCA two-day Senior Cup competition. Michael was the venue for the game, and Kingston, playing without a number of their top players, batted first and were dismissed for a mere 111, with Patrick Harty top scoring with 28. Michael, in reply, were bowled